Let me ask you a very intimate question. What are you afraid of? What are you the most afraid of, and why? And do you know that fear is holding you back from your truest and most authentic reality? Do you know that? Fear has been the reason why you aren't living in the desired reality that you always imagine, but it isn't a physical manifestation yet. It's only in your dreams that you ever could see yourself being in this version of life, or this version of yourself, or this version of whatever it may be, because fear, truthfully, what is fear? Something that we're afraid of, something that we're afraid to look at, the darkness, the almost evil aspect of our imagination. When do we usually have fear? Fear of judgment, fear of inability, incapability, fear of vulnerability, fear of love. Fear can exist in any plane of life. Do you realize that? Fear literally can exist in any version of your life, and it coexists with us constantly. So my thing is, how I feel about emotions when it comes to them is that each and every one of them are elements, are spirits that exist inside us, that were born with us the day we came into this world. They've always existed on a physiological, anatomical level and spiritual level within us. But the way in which they show up within our bodies is different. You know, it's different for each individual, because fear is not a generic emotion that can exist the same way within everybody. It is expressed differently by individuals. Fear may look a little different than it looks in me than it does in you. Another person may feel like fear doesn't stop them from accomplishing their dreams. Fear doesn't stop them from being authentic to themselves. You see, fear stops a lot of us from being true to who we are. It stops a lot of us from going after the thing that we desire, from being in a pleasurable, most loving state of being, because of fear. Fear that others may judge us when we pursue the things that we dream about, we think about on the deepest levels. But how long are we going to let fear be the reason why we don't do something? How long are you going to let fear be the reason why you aren't authentic, be the reason why you don't step into your true power, your true nature of who you are? I don't know about you, I've let fear dwell inside me in a way that isn't helping me. It's only hindering me. We have the decision to make on whether that fear that exists within every single one of us, we have the decision to make that the fear that lives inside me is no longer can keep me captivity to this existence. I'm going to use fear as my motivation. I'm going to use fear as my driving force towards the thing that I want. Because that's the only way you can coexist with fear, because it is a spirit, it is an element, and it's not going anywhere. Some of us like to push it down, push it to the side, and pretend that it's not there, but that doesn't work either, because that fear still comes up no matter how much we try to push it aside. It will always be there on a subconscious level. And you know what a subconscious level means to me? Subconscious just means a state in which that it is unseen, a state in which that reacts on its own. And you know what that is to me? That's the body. It is my firm belief that we hold all of our subconscious memory inside the body. What does the body do? It stores energy. And what is energy? Energy is memory. Stores hold memory. Your DNA holds memory, genetic intelligence. So why wouldn't it hold memory of emotions, of life, right? So that's why each and every one of us has a different subconscious. Think about when someone is having an immediate reaction to something. What happens first? our bodies oftentimes react first, and we don't know why our heart is racing. We don't know why we feel anxious. We don't know why we feel sad or angry, because our bodies will be the first ones to know, because subconsciously your intelligence that exists inside the ecosystem of your body reacted first. It was the first to react to that stimuli on the outside. Before your brain could catch up with it, the intelligence of your nature was already aware of it. Interesting, right? So that's why when it comes to healing, when it comes to growing and coming to a conscious awareness of yourself, you have to understand that healing the body is also an essential part of the process. That's why I'm a big firm believer and I harp on holistic healing. That's why I just also wrote a book about it. I am the light amongst the darkness. Check out the link down below. It'll tell you how to heal your mind, body, and your spirit and soul. Because healing requires us to tap into all planes of life that we exist in. Because we're not just physical beings, we're spiritual beings. We're not just spiritual beings, we're soulful beings. And we're also mental and intellectual beings. We exist and can coexist within all of those planes. Or we can choose to only ignore everything else around us that we also exist in, and ignore that and just say that we're physical beings and only pay attention to the physical world. And you know, when that happens, we get so consumed by all these tangible material things in order to make us feel better about ourselves. That's what happens when people are living in the material physical world. Sometimes you also can get carried away in the mental world, right? You can also get carried away in your mind. So if we aren't careful to understand that, which plane are we existing in? Which plane are we cohabitating in? Which plane are we focusing our lives on? Because what you focus your mind on, that's where your existence is. So when it comes to that fear, understand and recognize that you have the ability to control this element, this spirit, right, that exists within you. And I really dislike that so many of us are stuck, right? So many of us are stuck in a world where fear clouds every single aspect of our lives. It clouds our creativity. It clouds our intelligence. It clouds our confidence. Every single thing I've noticed, it attributes itself to. And I feel like, even though people say like hate is the opposite of love, but I feel like fear is the opposite of love. You know what I'm saying? That's just my perspective. I feel like fear really hinders. And I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's like, wow, like realizing it for myself is interesting along the process. Because I want you guys to know, as I make these videos, I heal myself. I come to conscious states of awareness for my human self as well, and I love it. So I hope this message is resonating with you. I no longer want to let fear control me. Do you want to let fear control you? Because I don't. I don't want to let fear be the reason why I don't live in the desired reality that I'm supposed to be living in. Because I am the ultimate generator, operator, and destroyer of my reality. I can either generate peace, I can operate in my most highest and truest form, I can either destroy the fear that exists within the version of kind of depleting my energy, or I can destroy it by limiting myself. I can destroy my own life by limiting myself. This is why I say we are the ones responsible for our realities, right? Because when that fear comes up and we're afraid to take that first step, to take that first leap, because we are, by nature, we love to be comfortable. And fear stops us from taking the step towards something that could potentially make us uncomfortable. Why do you think so many people react in ways towards things that don't align with their belief? That's where cognitive dissonance comes in. When you hit someone, or someone is presented with information that's new to them, and it conflicts their beliefs that they already have, they enter a state of cognitive dissonance where they want to be defensive and defend what they already are, what they already know, because they don't want to change. Because guess what? When you change, you feel like you're losing a part of yourself. But guess what? You are. And that's why we have fear, because we don't want to lose what we already have. But guess what? In order to grow, you have to lose something. That's what's called a cycle. Life and death. Look outside at nature. It beautifully demonstrates what we should be doing constantly in our lives. We should be in a continuous state of life and death, rebirth and birth. That should be our goal and our aim. So that fear should be a cue signal to be like, hey, it's time for a part of yourself to die. Not literally, but figuratively speaking. It's time for an aspect of yourself to be reborn. And it's time for us to look at that. It's time for us to stop being so complacent on where we are right now, and to look at our lives more so from a cyclical point of view. Because that's what the universe is. It's cyclical. It's cycle-like. Everything is a cycle. And guess what? We're going to keep running into the same situations if we continue to stay in the same cycles. So I hope you start to contemplate and ponder on how fear is impacting your life, and how you can step into a greater version of you. Ashe and amen.